there's been, the Batman rule of some Batmans kill, some don't. Some can be a little insane, some aren't. I would say that his version of Batman is extremely depressed and traumatized and not friendly or kind or debonair, which is the usual Batman that we see often in film, that kind of suave, rich guy with a heart that just captures all the Gotham criminals. This is, in the trailers, he considers himself vengeance. You'll even hear the quote often, "I am vengeance," and he doesn't even call himself Batman. He's literally running on the idea of he is vengeance, and that's how he introduces himself. To cleanse you, so that you could get away from all those ideas similar to Bruce Wayne, that you are vengeance, because it's that concept that gets him into a lot of trouble and kind of summons the Riddler. I kept on thinking of January 6th, the Capitol riots, while watching the Batman, especially the Riddler, because Paul Dano plays him like a man that just gets lost in the social media world and is so exhausted by how corrupt politics are, all the lies. Even good people like Thomas Wayne, who wanted to be mayor before he died, he has his own corrupt history that is unpacked, and Bruce Wayne obviously has to deal with that. And part of what I loved about Paul Dano's take, and it was so terrifying, was as somebody that knows mentally ill people and has seen a breakdown, it was so spot on, so accurate. All his idiosyncrasies and movements and his pain, you felt like this is a deranged man that sees a kinship with himself and Batman as two people that have decided to confront who we call our political leaders, our, civilian, or who we call our civilian leaders, our civilized, our citizens, the powerful. Why are you powerful? And on the twist of that is, why do you think you are vengeance? That you can bring justice to those who claim that they were going to do the same. And it's really interesting because the lines get really blurry as Batman unpacks every single riddle that the Riddler leaves him. He starts to have this real existential crisis of what makes me better than the Riddler, or say anyone, in trying to bring justice to Gotham, but live in this idea of truth and goodness, especially with how many corrupt people are in the government and all the surprise names that he finds, including his father. This is amethyst, purple amethyst. It's perfect for protection against evil energies and negative vibes, which is certainly something I think people are going to feel really divided about Robert Pattinson's take on Batman, because it's not suave, it's not cool, it's very grim and isolated and sad, and some people are going to love that version, and some people are going to be like, bring back the debonair, like he's not wearing suits and hanging around, like definitely unlike any other version of the Batman that I have seen. And I appreciated that. Like, at the very least, whether you like it or not, you can say he's different. I'm bringing all the good vibes for you, because now we're about to introduce Selena Kyle, Zoe Kravitz, and Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Zoe Kravitz as the Catwoman, 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 the Catwoman. I think Farrell's the Penguin absolutely steal the movie. Colin Farrell, I'll start with him because he didn't have too many scenes, but he had a presence. And in the few scenes that he was in, you were like, oh my God, bring him back. He's just so funny and dominant, and he's obviously going to be the villain of the next film, along with, you know, who, if you've read the spoilers, it's true. I'll just leave it at that. That actor is playing that character, and he is playing a very comic book accurate version of him in look, in feel, in maniacal hyena laugh. So get ready for that. And I would have to say, it's funny, I felt like Colin Farrell's version of Penguin was very Al Capone, very mob boss, and he's working with Carmine. So it's just like really, really funny. Like, you're gonna love him. He's going to dominate. And I feel like when it comes to Catwoman Zoe Kravitz, she was such a breath of fresh air, because this movie is 3 hours. And it is dark, and it kind of, I put in my review, it plays like an HBO Max true crime series. I kept on thinking like I was watching True Detective or some kind of like 8-part murder mystery on HBO, where it's really investigative and really immersive and very dark and very grim, and you're like, who did it? Where's the bad guy? Who are we hunting for? And I think Paul Dano mentioned that he had based it off of like the Zodiac Killer and you know, serial killers before, and you felt that it was palpable. And that in some ways is what makes Zoe Kravitz shine more. She's so just light and sexy and sultry, and has this ability to just grab attention in a way that juxtaposes so well with how, again, bitter Robert Pattinson's version of the Batman is. And when you think about Bruce Wayne, he is, watching your parents get murdered is traumatizing. And I think most iterations of him kind of, you know, there's a feeling that he's moved on, or he's transferring that pain into the Batman. And this was like, wow, he's hurting. He is hurting, he is hurting, he is hurting, he is hurting, he is hurting. And Selena comes in to heal, 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 just plucking away all that bad vibe, so you can feel as sexy, as confident as Catwoman. When it comes to Alfred, you know, Andy Serkis was okay. You know, Commissioner Gordon, Jeffrey Wright, he was good. He had some funny scenes, but they weren't as, like, I feel like in previous films, they were written as bigger, more important characters. This was very much focused on the Riddler and Batman. They just felt like 24/7. It was all about them, and there was no, like, any side character was never, like Zoe Kravitz and Colin Farrell, they were just so good as their characters that they popped out. But everybody else, though they were good, they just felt like, oh, okay, he's here, exit stage right. Oh, he's here, exit stage left. So, and it's sad because Alfred is one of my favorite characters, so I was really excited to see Andy Serkis, and he did a good job, but he wasn't like the most important character at all, honestly. And same thing with Jeffrey Wright's Commissioner Gordon. Like, he was important, but there was like, if they were edited out, the film would have been the same. Yeah, it's 3 hours. I felt entertained when I saw it with everybody. People clapped. There was a standing O. People really enjoyed it. I have to say the only other 3-hour comic book movie that I've seen, obviously, I believe is Avengers Infinity War or Endgame. And if I compare the two, I would say that there were moments of Endgame that felt a little bit long, like we could have edited this or get to the point. And I was really impressed by how the Batman, I stayed those 3 hours. It kept me perfectly paced. Matt Reeves did a great job in writing and pacing and editing. It was beautiful. It was gray. It was good. I was invested. So check out The Batman out March 4th in theaters. Feel free to comment on this Reiki session. I hope that you feel cleared and collected. And check out Genuinely Entertained, where I life coach based on the TV shows that have absolutely enamored me and movies. And I'm doing a Genuinely Entertained on The Batman, speaking on just this false idea that we can be vengeance. I think you'll like it. So check it out at deandrewreviewsitall.com. All right, see you.